I am Father Merv Duffy, a priest who lectures in theology at Te Kupenga Catholic Theological College. I have an expertise in theology and in the history of the Catholic missionaries who came to Aotearoa New Zealand. I'm a Marist priest, so these were my confreres among the first missionaries. I've been asked by the National Liturgy Office to give an answer to the question, why did Bishop Pompallier write Mo Maria? Pompallier and the French Catholic missionaries arrived in this country a generation after their Protestant counterparts. They set out to spread the good news of Jesus Christ, but also to promote distinctively Catholic teachings and practices. Devotion to Mary as Mother of God and praying to her is something that set Catholics apart from Protestants. The first printed material circulated by Pompallier and the missionaries was Ko Ngā Tahi Ponu Nui, a simple account of Catholic teachings and prayers with a hymn and a reading lesson. It was printed in July of 1839. On page 4, the two prayers are the Our Father and the Hail Mary. The Our Father was entirely acceptable to Protestants because it's a biblical prayer. Thomas Kendall had printed the first Maori edition of that prayer 19 years before. The Hail Mary, however, was new to New Zealand. Protestant missionaries criticised the Catholics for calling Mary Mother of God and for praying to her. Those Maori who started praying the Hail Mary were being attacked for doing so. The Hail Mary exists in multiple different versions in Maori. It seems each missionary introduced his own translation and it was never standardized. By about 1841, Pompallier has had printed an improved version that begins Tēnei whakapaingia koe, e Maria. In 1843, Pompallier produced the work that he'd been preparing for some time, Ako Marama, a real book. The first edition, 56 pages, then in the same year, a 96-page edition. Despite the date on the cover page there, it came out in 1843. This book does not include the full Hail Mary. It assumes its readers know it already. When it wants to refer to it, it simply says, Tēnā whakapaingia koe e Maria. What Ako Marama does contain, however, is a set of waiata, and waiata number 10 is Mo Maria in 14 verses. This leads to my answer to the question of why Pompallier wrote it. It gives the biblical background to the Hail Mary. Any Catholic who knows Mo Maria will be able to talk about the Bible passages that are in the background of that prayer. The opening words of the Hail Mary are a combination of the greeting of Gabriel at the Annunciation and Elizabeth at the Visitation. We call on Mary as Mother of God because she is mother indeed for Jesus, true God. On the cross, Jesus said to John, his disciple, "This is your mother." And that is why all Catholics can call, all Christians can call on Mary as mother. Because of this connection to the Hail Mary, Mo Maria quickly became popular as the Catholic waiata. You can see it has in its text phrases from the Hail Mary, word for word, despite the fact that it has to be sung, put into verse form. It is very clearly connected to the 1841 Hail Mary. There are variations on the words and on the tune. There is particular variation between northern and southern versions. It gets reprinted time and again in each Maori Catholic hymnal. In the 1970s, the Christchurch Diocesan Pastoral Council printed 2 verses of Mo Maria with music in their popular hymn book, Tēnei Mātou. It was one of the first waiata to become part of the repertoire of the general Catholic population. In 1981, Monsignor Charles Cooper printed all 14 verses in his magisterial volume, Sing Praise. He reported that he got more comment about Mo Maria than any other hymn in that large volume. A common critique was that he'd printed the northern version in a Wellington hymn book. His reasoning was that the hymn had come from the north, so their version had priority. A final Mo Maria story. In January 2001, after his remains had been exhumed from Putou Cemetery, they were taken, the remains of Pompallier were taken, and they lay in state in Notre Dame Cathedral in Paris, and the Cardinal of Paris celebrated Mass. At the end of the Mass, as is the custom in that cathedral, the congregation sang Salve Regina. The Hikoi party replied with Mo